Welcome to the Circuit of Success Podcast.
The Circuit of Success Podcast.
With your host, Brett
Gilliland. Brett Gilliland, Visionary Wealth Advisory.
The Circuit of Success Podcast. Let's start this
Welcome
show.
to the Circuit of Success. I'm your host, Brett Gilliland, and today I've got Brent Pohlman with me. Brent, how we doing?
Great, Brett. Yeah, looking forward to this.
Brent and Brett all together here. I don't know about you, but I get called Brent all the time.
I get called Brett a lot too, so I can relate.
Yeah, exactly right. So you are the owner and CEO of Midwest Laboratories, over 300 employees out in Omaha, Nebraska. Got an unbelievable business you guys have built there. I think your dad started it, and now you are the CEO and owner of that company. And you also are an author of a book called Leaders Look Within. And so excited to talk to you about that stuff today, Brent. But if you can, before we dive into all this great stuff we're going to chat about, help us, what's made you the man you are today?
Oh gosh, I would say surrounding myself with great people. It starts with my wife and my 5 kids at home. They've been my best support. Obviously, my father, who started the company, saw something in me that he wanted me to continue his legacy here. And I just think I have a fantastic staff, and I'm just grateful every day that I get to wake up and come in here and just really be a part of something special here at Midwest Laboratories.
Yeah, and so tell us a little bit, give us the high-level view for those listening that may not know who Midwest Laboratories is, what exactly you guys do, and how you're making a difference in the world.
Yeah, we're an analytical testing lab, and we're in 3 verticals: agriculture, environmental. So we do soil testing, plant testing, water testing. And then on the human health, we do food testing. And on the animal health, more on the feed and pet food testing. We have 300 employees, and we get samples in and we get results out in 3 to 5 days. So we're kind of like a production laboratory, I would say.
Wow.
People are counting on us for they send their samples in for various reasons, and they need that information to move forward on a management side, whether it's a product, whether it's any quality of ingredients, all kinds of reasons. But being that diverse, again, helps us meet a lot of client demands. And we're continuing to grow rapidly, and we're in the process of moving, which is a big thing for us right now.
Wow. And you mentioned before we started recording the number of samples. So help people understand the magnitude of what goes on here and how much stuff you're processing on a daily basis.
Right. We started on the agricultural side. And when soil testing, I would say about mid-2005 to 2007, when tractors got precision ag and everything was data-driven, our soil volumes just went up exponentially. So we went from 1,000 samples a day to this year, we're probably at our all-time record, a little under 2 million. So you start to do the math at $10 to $25 a sample. That's a lot of money in dirt. But yeah, we get anywhere from 10,000 to 40,000 samples a day between October to December, right after harvest. So it takes a staff of 300, and then we bring on an additional about 70 seasonal employees to help us get those samples in, get them analyzed, and get results out.
So I'm in the Midwest here, obviously around a lot of cornfields in the great state of Illinois. And so what are you finding that's out there? What are people looking for, and what are you having to do to make a switch if there's something that you don't like what you see?
So on the soil side, everything is computer driven. So you have variable rate application. So you can take your whole field of 40 acres, break it down, look at what's working and what's not working. And then from there, know exactly what type of levels of maybe it's magnesium, maybe it's sulfur, maybe it's phosphorus. What do you need to apply to make that soil at its best for growing, whether it's corn, in the Midwest, corn, soybeans, but maybe in the South, it could be cotton and such. But we're mostly Midwest, but we're kind of expanding nationally as we go. So we're learning more and more about different crops throughout our country.
Yeah, so basically just the efficiencies of the dirt itself, and then you guys, do you make the recommendation? Is that then, or is that something?
So we work with our partner. We can make the recommendation, but a lot of them go through big ag retailers. There's numbers of big ones out there with your nutrients, your MFAs. They're all, again, a lot of them started in the Midwest, have gone national.
Yeah.
and they have their own recommendations for
Got it.
crops. So
Got it.
we try to get the data to them so that, again, they can get to the growers that they're representing.
Well, I know it's important for you to bring your A game every day, right? So when you think about that as a business leader and you're in charge of 300 people, I think 14 buildings you guys are across. So how do you show up as the CEO and owner of this big company? How do you show up every day with your A game going?
Well, for me, it's a daily routine, and I didn't have a daily routine for most of my life. It was only in the last 4 or 5 years, hence the book, that I really needed to discover who I was and how do I bring my best self every single day.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, people will see it right away. If I come in with a frown or if I'm coming mad, man, I set the tone, and people
Yeah.
see it right away, and they ask questions. And I did not realize the power in that, and so I do. I have to really bring my A game every single day. That's just a constant that I want to do. I want to bring that. So my routine consists of, in the morning I get up, I have to do some physical activity. I like to get outside. I also work with a trainer a couple days a week, and I just got to get moving, get the blood flowing, and make sure that hopefully the night before I had enough rest. And I track everything. I use a Whoop. I look at my data every morning, and yeah,
Got one right
so
there.
all right, I do. I look at it every morning, and it has helped me so much really realize what energy I have, where I'm depleted. And because before this, I was super, I don't know about you, but I was super reactive. Anything would just set me off. And I've learned the power that instead of being reactive, I need to be more relational. And that takes a lot of work. And to be relational means you got to bring your best self every single
Yeah.
day, and you can't be reactive to everything.
What are some of the other habits and rituals that you would say are key to your success?
I journal. I was shown a journal. I attended a mastermind a while back, and I journal every single day. And one of the things, I think one of the best things that someone showed me was, yes, we have our top three things, maybe our intention for the day, what I'm grateful for. And I track wins every single day, because there are wins every single day if you track
Hmm.
it. But I think the biggest learning for me was, where was I uncomfortable yesterday? That has been the biggest question for me. And what it's really done for me is, those things that are weighing on me, I take the power out of them by writing them down right away. And then I can determine, do I spend time on this? Is this something real? Do I need to follow up? And the joke is here, when I'm in a meeting, and let's say you got five people in the in the meeting, and someone says, "Hey, I think everybody in here deserves a 20% salary increase." You will see me take a huge deep breath, slow down, and just say, "Okay, tell me more about this." Whereas before I would have said, what the heck is that? Where's that
Right.
coming from? Why are you saying that? So again, I think the power in all this is, we bring our best selves by trying to understand the people around us, and growing awareness. I mean, that's what I've seen through this whole thing, is just growing intense awareness of who I am and the people I work with around me, and what are they bringing every day.
Yeah.
Everybody brings their own stuff, but we just need to work through that to bring our best selves out of it.
So what process do you use if as a fellow business owner, if you get bad news or have a bad day or whatever, like what are you doing to get yourself refocused and being back to the A player that you want to be?
I think I really have to write it down. For me, it's all about writing it down. If I write it down, I take the power out of it right away. I have to think about it, because and I still struggle with that. I still make mistakes, but even
Sure.
I did it yesterday at home. You're with your wife, and she says, "Hey, do you want to go to the store with me?" And my first reaction was, "Do you think I'll add value to that experience?" And she goes, "You really don't want to go, do you?" Oh, I like, oh gosh, oh yeah, I'll go with you.
Yeah.
It's because in my mind, no. My first reaction was no, I didn't want to really go, but then I came up with kind of a poor excuse there. But I think slowing ourselves down and saying, she really wants me to go with her. I need to be there for her. She's doing all these things. What's the best thing here? I have to put my stuff aside and think about what her needs are in that moment. That's most important. So I think it really helps prioritize what's really important.
So how do you also, I'm always curious about people that have had, you got successful business and been around for a long time. Like how do you goal plan when this thing is clicking along, right? It's okay, 10,000 to 40,000 a day, but I'm assuming there's some goals that are out there. Like how do you goal plan when you've already built something to be successful to take it to that next level?
I work with some great people. My chief strategy officer, Dana Berkey, she showed me this process, and I use it every single day. And it's three words: it's people, process, technology,
Hmm.
and it has to always be in that order. Because for so many years, I was in previous roles, previous jobs, I was doing ERP implementations. I always thought technology was like everybody needs to get better technology and processes, but it really starts with people first. So if
Yeah.
you take care of people, that people aspect first, the processes have to be consistent, and then technology third. Those three words have been probably the key for me with any project that I really look at, or any planning. Do we have the people in place? I ask all the people questions, and then processes. Is it, how much is this going to improve the process? And then the technology piece actually is much easier after you have the first two figured out.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, the people first. I mean, so you talk about your culture there. If I were to, outside those four walls you're standing in right now, if I went outside and talked to some of your key people, what do you think they would say is the message, right? The message I hear from you and the other leaders in the organization. What's that theme? What's important for you as a company today?
Sure. Well, vision. We want to be the best lab in the country, in the world, that does dynamic service and innovative service like no other, and that's our vision. And then mission, we want to have a positive impact on our own culture and our clients in our community. Those two things, our vision and a mission, we say them all the time, because before this, they used to be literally, they were locked up in a bookcase someplace. I don't even know when the last time somebody even looked at them. But those pieces are the key, and I really think it comes back to the people. And one thing I will leave you that's really helped me is calling people by their name. When you hear your, I've gone, maybe you did. I went most of my career, I never heard my name called. Hey, you, come over here. But when you stop and you say Tracy, or you say Jim, I want to talk to you, or hey, how's it going, Jim, or Bob, or Sue, you're stopping and you're actually personalizing the message. And the key for me, that has just been a huge thing. Even with 300 employees, I try to learn their names. I still have a lot of people that I don't know yet, because we've done a
Yeah.
lot of hiring. We had 100 employees 3 years ago. So we've gone
Oh
from
wow.
100 to 300 in the last couple of years. So it's been quite a few years of growth here, but calling people by their name is so key, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is key. It is key. So, what, from a standpoint of helping other leaders, again, focusing on that culture, what is it that is there anything daily you do? Is there kind of a mantra like ours is, and you can see it on my microphone here, is helping people achieve a future greater than their past. And so, like, that's what we're about, helping people achieve a future greater than your past. So, when you think about that or you hear that, what comes to mind for you, and what message are you giving out?
I think the big one for me, and I try to do it at home as well, is be in the moment. Really be
Hmm.
in the moment. Put distractions aside and be in the moment. This summer, I had two daughters getting married, and I don't
Well, it's a
know.
busy summer.
Yeah, so July and August, and I have, some people don't have to work at it. I have to really work at it, like days in advance, saying, "Hey, I want to be in the moment for those special events, times of my daughter's lives. I need to block out everything." So I had to work like days before, journalizing what was still in my mind, what am I still hanging on to, and I try to do that more and more. Is like be in the moment with people, because people can tell when you're not, you say something
Sure.
or you want to leave. Um, but if you just genuinely show that you are there, listening to their needs, I think that's huge. I really do. I think there's
Yeah.
a huge, and there's a huge need for it today.
Yeah, yeah. What, for you, for team building? We always hear death by meetings and things like that. Like, what is your focus on meetings? Number one, and then number two, do you have a process for those meetings?
Yeah. So for me, with 300 employees, I actually, about 3 years ago, I had to get out of the day to day. So My only focus is this new campus. Basically, that's my big project. By
Okay.
delegating and showing trust in others, I think trust is the biggest thing. If you can't trust your leaders, if you can't trust your directors, your managers, your supervisors, you're not going to go very far. And I think building that confidence of trust and having people's back is probably the biggest thing. So when someone comes to a need, I have to really understand where that is coming from. And it could be coming from a number of different places. But I know in my past, um, I wouldn't listen. I wasn't listening very well to what was
Mm.
really happening there. And I didn't have trust. And I couldn't figure out why I didn't have trust. Well, I wasn't listening. And so today, I would say every interaction, I'm just really listening. Where's this person coming from? I'm listening a whole different way than I used to. But I do think trust is the underlying, and it starts again at home, and then it starts with
Yeah.
your leadership. You have to have that. I didn't have that a few years ago, and I ended up getting rid of six leaders that I had brought in from the outside within 3 months because it was
Wow.
just going crazy. So that's a terrible thing. So I've made mistakes too. I paid the price for that, and it's huge. So trust is the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So where did the awareness come from that? Did you look from within? Did you have a business coach? Where did the awareness come to know that you
I,
weren't
I
listening?
really worked with a variety of different coaches because I think each one brings a different style. I've worked with my trainer for the last 5 years, and thankfully he's more on the mindfulness side. So we talk mindfulness all the time. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's kind of weird for a trainer to have that background. I think not very many do, but it's huge. We'll even get down to the breathing. Like he can tell when I'm breathing up here, I'm not having a good workout. I need to breathe
Hmm.
down here. I
Yeah.
mean, it just really starts with things like that, which I didn't even realize.
Right.
But it's so huge, so huge. Just
Yeah.
breathing every single day.
I reference it a lot, but my 8th grade teacher, Mr. Harshbarger, history class, said, "You have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them proportionately." And it's like, so you think about that. Listening twice as much as you talk is a great leadership quality. There's no doubt about it. So when in your book, it's called Leaders Look Within. So I assume part of that comes from this book as well, the things that you've learned there. And talk to us about the book and where do our listeners find more of it?
Sure. I don't know about you, but I have like 1,000 books at home on management,
Yeah.
leadership. Here's the 12
Yeah.
steps to be an effective leader. Here's the 8
Yeah.
steps to be the best manager you can. I probably read all kinds of those books, and nothing really resonated with me that I was really going to carry forward. And again, who am I to write a leadership book? There's many great leaders out there. So I think what I really discovered was leadership is personal. It's super personal, and it
Yeah.
has to come from the person has to find it themselves. So I had to dig deep, and actually writing the book helped me. I used a ghostwriter in the beginning, and I had to dig some stuff that I wasn't dealing with. I was again super reactive, but I didn't know where my thoughts were coming from. I didn't even really have a strong why. I thought I did, but it would come and go like the wind.
Yeah.
Today, my why and my how is I'm a person of faith who coaches people up and leads from the heart. So it's actionable. Every single day, I have to say that because it has to be actionable or it's not going to work. Um, and I really do. I love sports. I love the whole coaching aspect of it. And again, getting the best performance out of your people, it's trust. It's a lot of the things that work well, not only in the sports world, but in the business world too, as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that. So what are you doing from a coaching standpoint? Like for me, I have clients that we coach and as well and advisors and stuff, but I love the start, stop, continue. Like what I need to start doing, what I need to stop doing, what I need to continue doing. Right. And I think if you really look inside and kind of leaders look within, like your book says, that's a powerful homework assignment, if you will, right? To go and
Yeah.
figure out those 3 things. So for you, is there a one-stop shop thing that you like, hey man, if I had one question or one little deal I could coach people with, what would it be?
It's a great question. I would say first off, the biggest question is how did you get to where you were today? Ask yourself, how did you get to where you were today, and figure out why are you here today? How did you get to this place? What does that mean? What does that look like? Because then from there you can go back and you can just say, this is where I get that, or this is how I want to be. And then you need to look forward. I think as a leader, I'm a futuristic person. I have to kind of be pulled back every once in a while too. But what does this look like going forward? And I would say I'm still working at that. Um, right now, I'm 58. The word succession plan, somebody said that. And at first, my first reaction was, oh, I don't ever want to do those things, succession plan.
Right.
But now I'm like really excited. It took me this year finally to get excited about a succession plan, which says, hey, in 10 years, I want this, this, and this for the company, for myself, for my family.
Yeah.
This is exciting. This can happen. And then you really visualize it and you say, this is going to happen. And you bring others aboard. I think that was it. By me getting out of the day to day and being more strategic, you really freeze yourself up to think, because you are the person. People want to know where you're going. They don't care what happened yesterday or the day before. But if you say, the future looks grim, I don't think we're going to do very well next year. I would never say those things. But unless they're really super true, you got to be authentic too. But you got to really watch what you're doing. People are watching all the time. So I think where you've been, where you are now, and then into the future, what do you want? What do you want 10 years from now? And really visualize that and get excited about it. Don't look at it as some, like, I don't know, a checkbox item or something that I have to do, or just really take it to heart. You'll be amazed the power and the ideation that comes out of that.
Yeah, well, I think you're working in your brilliance, and you talked about your faith earlier, and it's the Bible says without a vision people perish, right? And so you've got to be able to show a vision to your workers, to your employees, to your teammates, and that vision is huge. To see where you're going, and I think clarity precedes mastery, and so I think you working in your brilliance and doing what you're doing. That's why it's working. That's why you've tripled the size of the company in the last 3 years.
So here, I'll give you a great example that's happened because of that. And this is going to happen in 2024. Healthcare costs are going through the roof. We met with our broker. Their only response to us was, you need higher deductibles for your employees. You need higher copays. Costs have gone up 200% in the last 3 years. And we said, you know what? We said, no, there's got to be a better way to do this. So what we are doing starting January 1st is we have a medical office on site for our employees. We're going to have 3 times a week, one doctor, 2 nurses. Our employees can use the facility here. It's prepaid, and we're going to save on that because primary care visits are $200 to $300. We take a hit every time they go to the doctor. It's $200 to $300. We're self-insured. And then if they go to urgent care or hospital, obviously then it's $1,000, $5,000.
Right.
We could get hit. But by bringing the medical care team here on site and having access to our employees and their families, they can go in there, because we wanted to keep deductibles low. We wanted to keep copays low. In fact, they're not even going to pay anything for this. And that's the only way we saw as how do we control these costs.
I'm clapping for you right there. That's a big deal. That's kind of a mind-blowing thing to think about. So now let's walk through that. I'm an employee. I work at your company. I've got the sniffles, or I've got whatever, right? I need to go see a doctor. I can go in, walk out the door, go to another building right there on campus, and I can go see a doctor that's there for me or my kids or my wife or whoever.
Right there. Yep.
That's amazing. So how does that, do you have to start like a clinic? Does that mean, I don't understand even the business side of that.
We met a guy who also has that same concept. He's on the medical side. He doesn't like insurance, and his staff, we can go to his side or we can go to our side here. And he's about like 2 miles away, but we're partnering with that company. So they do everything. They do all the medical work for us. And he wants to change healthcare. So when you find a visionary guy that has same values, same purpose and vision, it's amazing. We had a lunch and learn for our employees. Typically we'll get maybe 10 to 20 employees to go to a lunch and learn. We had over 85 of our 300 people for this lunch and learn because they wanted to understand. And the whole key to this is engagement. We got to get them to use this so we can drive the costs down. But we still have our other insurance, obviously, for the major things. But we just feel this is just I think it's a pretty innovative way.
Oh, 100%. That's awesome. So how did that idea come about? I always love how big ideas happen. And then to have the fortitude to go out and do it?
I think it's really the leadership team that I work with. We're really people driven. We don't like to hear no. They wanted to put us in a captive. They wanted to do the things that are everything that's known in the insurance industry. This is the way it's supposed to be done. And we kept saying, no, there's got to be a better way. No, there's got to be a better way. And again, we may not know. We don't know if it's going to work or not. Obviously, you got to step out in faith on this too. But we just thought this is the right thing. This really lines up well with our values. I think we can do this. We negotiated the rate, so it was somewhat affordable. I don't know what's affordable in healthcare these days,
Right.
but I think really holding strong to our values, because at first the broker didn't want to do it. The insurance, and we had to dig deeper. Where are all our costs going? And we learned too much. Probably learned way too much.
Yeah.
And nobody was going to change it. That was the problem. No one was on that side of the things was going to do anything to drive the cost down. So then that's when we said, let's do this, and let's see if we can do this. And we looked on campus. What's the best centrally located place to put this clinic? And the more we talked to our people, at first they didn't even know, because today most of our young people don't even have primary care physicians.
Right.
The world's changed. They just go to the urgent care whenever they need it, or emergency room, or whatever. And we had a rich plan. So we had low copays and low deductibles. So there was no incentive to do that. But I really think it's going to work. I really do believe it. And I really like this model a lot. And the owner, I know him too, and he's got great value system. So I really do think it's a win-win for both of us.
Well, I mean, you think of that. Let's replay all that stuff. So there's trust, there's respect for this person, there's a values connection, which we always talk about at Visionary Wealth Advisors. When there's not a values connection, it's not going to work, no matter what you try to do. So we also have that. And then you talked about your people, your process, and your technology. You're focusing on people, right? There's a process. It's going to be here 3 days a week, blah, 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 blah. And I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of technology that comes along with that, because that's what doctors' offices have. So, again, hats off to you, man. I think it's an amazing thing, Brent, to do that. And then to have faith and trust that it's going to happen is what I always tell people is build the bridge while you're trying to cross the river, right? Build the parachute while you're jumping out of the plane. You don't know exactly what's going to happen. And 3 months, 6 months, 9 months from now, there's going to be like, we should have done this. And then you pivot, right? And you make a change. And is that a core belief that you're okay with that type of decision making?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to learn through this process. We're not going to get it. I know we're not going to get it right. You never get it right the first time, but you got to start someplace. And it does. When you line up, to your point, if you get the values in place and you work with somebody you can trust, there's a better chance of that working.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think it's just a phenomenal process that you guys are going to go out and do. And I think so many people though want everything to be perfect from the get-go, and it just doesn't work, right? I mean, you laugh because I would laugh too. It's like so many people you hear them say, well, I got to do this, this, and this, and it's like, well, come on, man, like just take action.
I'll tell you another one. We're moving to a new campus. So last year I get the bill, crazy inflation, crazy costs.
Yeah.
We're $100 million off between myself and the contract. That's a big number. That's a big number.
That's a big number.
I said, you know what? We got to stop. We needed a whole new plan. So we spent a whole year trying to get to that place. This year took a different direction, and we're working through it. We're almost done with the design. I don't have the estimate yet, but it's going to be so much better. I can already tell going through that, as you learn through those processes, and you learn the timing. But $100 million off, you guys, no, I can't do that.
You guys are out of your mind. Any aha moments for you that was kind of a duh, Brent? Of course you should have known that. Like, is any of those out there for you that come to mind?
I think. I would say, I say this in the book a lot, is you got to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. You just have to do that. I mean, for me, a routine, it has to happen every single day. I drive my wife crazy, I know, but I got to get in my 30 minutes, 40 minutes of exercise every single day. I just have to. It doesn't mean, if I don't get it, I try to do it first thing in the morning, but sometimes it doesn't work. But she knows I'm a better person when I get that in too. I just got to stick with that routine consistently. And when you do that, when you take care of yourself, then you can take care of others. If you don't take care of yourself, I don't know how you can take care of
Yeah.
the rest of the people. And I feel a huge responsibility with 300 people here. I do
Oh,
feel
absolutely.
responsible for themselves, their families, their dreams, their futures. I want them to have that. So it's a huge responsibility. Absolutely.
Yeah, I look at it from a standpoint, especially this time of the year. I look at, Christmas coming up and the people that work for you, like you're responsible for those presents under the Christmas tree, right? Santa Claus coming to town and all that stuff. It's like that's what you're responsible for these employees, is to deliver for them so they can provide for their families. And so it's always a good time for me to, sit back, be thankful, and enjoy that.
I have a cool story on that too. So about 6 years ago, my mom passed away from cancer, and I didn't want my dad to be alone. And so we were at we went to this convention in another state, and we walk into this coffee house, and there on the wall on this chalkboard, it said, "How can we pray for you?" And I looked at my dad and I said, "I think Mom's trying to tell us something." So now if you come into our main entrance of our building, right there is a prayer wall on the side. Our employees, our clients, our vendors, anybody can write a prayer petition, because I think prayer is non-invasive, and it just says, "Hey, we're here for you." And that was really awakening to me when we saw that.
So I walk in, I needed to pray on ABC. I just literally write it with like a marker or a pen or something on the wall.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's very cool, man. These are great ideas. I think I love this, Brent. Where do our listeners grab the book?
You could grab it right now on Amazon. I'm kind of going through a redo with my website, but Amazon right now, just search Brent Pohlman. There's not too many Brent Pohlmans on Amazon, and you can buy the book there. And I really appreciate you having me on your show, Brett. This has been great.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for being on the Circuit of Success, Brent. Tons of takeaways for me, man. Really appreciate the time.